Hello, everybody. I'm going to be talking about my research essay. And before I get started, my camera doesn't want to work, so it and it hasn't been working for like a week now. So sorry, guys. Anyways, my research project my research topic is about the problems with procrastination, but more specifically, academic procrastination. I mainly chose this topic because myself and many of my friends actually are affected with procrastination. And when thinking of a research topic for this essay, I kind of thought to myself, why, I guess why do I and many people like me procrastinate? And I think the main reason why I thought of that is because I kind of procrastinated on like something else. I don't really remember what, but I procrastinated on an assignment, which made me think about that. So then I came up with that idea, which then led me to a bunch of other questions about procrastination. So now that's the reason why I'm doing it. So, anyways, for the first paragraph, I really like it. Basically I put this imagined scenario type thing where I basically say, like, imagine you have like this project due within a week, and you tell yourself you were gonna start this like the next day, but you don't. You push it forward, forward, forward until last minute you have to do it, and then yeah, you basically get all this stress. That's basically, fun fact actually. This, like that little tiny part with the scenario, is actually a mix of my experience as well as most of my friends' experiences with that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And oh yeah, I also talk about my struggles with it, where it leads to the questions of why do students procrastinate, and what is the meaning behind it, and what are the effects? Is it short term, long term? What are the effects? And how can students overcome it? Like, is there a way? Is there a technique? I wanted to know that. And yeah, and what are the causes as well? So the next one, I talk about what is academic procrastination. Well, academic procrastination, I found out through the American Psychologist the APA. I think it was the American Psychological Association. Yeah. It's basically just like a ha a habit basically. Like where it's like the tendency just to delay your tasks, including like studying, doing homework and all that. Basically, it's just pushing it away. You're pushing it to the side until like the very last minute. And academic procrastination actually has like several key differences where I talked about right here, where it's like voluntary delay, um, preferring like other activities. I'm pretty sure that was another one, like negative consequences, and like it was like disconnection. Yeah, disconnection between like intention and action. Those are like the main four key characteristics, as well as academic procrastination has, even though it is often linked with negative outcomes, there is there is a positive procrastination called active procrastination, where active procrastination is just where you just basically prefer to work under the pressure. Like you choose to postpone these, you choose to postpone assignments so you can work under the pressure. And a lot of students do that. And I think when doing this too, I feel like I've learned that I am kind of an active procrastinator. But the complete opposite to this is actually just passive, or is what's called passive procrastination, where students just delay assignments because they just feel overwhelmed or they just don't want to do it. They have no motivation to do it. which then often leads to them never turning it in. So, and then the first picture I chose is a comic strip, part of a comic strip. It's basically just an example of an active procrastinator where they often they often choose to push some, because some active procrastinators choose to push off some of the tasks for for like something else that's more important. Like for example, for this case, it would be just cleaning their room. Instead of doing their homework, they're gonna clean their room. And then for my next one, for this next part, I basically talk about how many or what are like the percentages that researchers have found about how many people or how many students actively procrastinate. And I basically I basically talk about all the theories that people say online. Like procrastination is often laziness or just a simple bad habit. And in reality, it's actually not. It's not about laziness. It's often just because no, it's just basically the opposite of laziness. Basically, it's just because we work in like long stretches of times, which is off. We honestly just work under pressure. I think that's the main point there. It's not about laziness. And other people also said too that it's either linked to like gender or the majors that you've chosen, which is also false because there's actually no evidence to support that. And which leads to my graph picture right here, where it basically just shows how there aren't major links to there aren't major links to cause procrastination, and which leads to the actual causes that I explained over here, where some of the main causes were poor time management, um, not knowing where to begin, like having unwanted distractions and having low self-esteem. And I think these were like the main causes from what I found. Like for poor time management, most people would just underestimate how long an assignment would take. For not knowing where to begin, people would just would just get overwhelmed and get pressured, not knowing how to start. So then they just procrastinate it. They just don't want to do it, which then leads them to like basically start stressing out. And then for unwanted distractions like social media, being on your phones, that basically just removes your 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 concentration from doing work. And then low self-esteem, where students basically just don't think they can do it. Like that's basically it. They just don't do the work. They won't turn it in. They won't even look at it anymore. And which yeah, then leads to the effects of it, of what are the effects of procrastination, which which the effects could be both academically or can be both academic and emotional. For academic, it can often lead to like negative performance with exams, a lot of late work turned in. It can affect GPA, and basically the quality of the work that you do basically affects or basically gets affected because of procrastination. I could or Emotionally, however, it affects mental health, where it just basically you get increased anxiety, stress, and lower self-esteem, where students on were students on average get elevated symptoms of depression and anxiety because of procrastination. And that's actually from a study, right? Yeah, with over 3,500 university students. So I thought that was pretty cool. So now after talking about the negative effects of procrastination, it leads to the question of what are the solutions to overcome procrastination? What are the various strategies or techniques students have used to either reduce or overcome procrastination? Which one effective strategy to overcome procrastination is called the one step at a time approach, also known as the Pomodoro technique, which is when students just break up tasks into like segments while having short breaks in between them. It basically just helps reduce burnout and improve productivity. Another effective way is just developing strong time management, just like by staying organized and not underestimating how long it will take you to do an assignment or a project so you don't feel like overwhelmed and then rush it in the last minute. And another one is just reducing surrounding distractions that you have, like moving your phone to a different part of like the room or just out of your room, basically somewhere where it isn't as easy of an access to get. And then lastly is just building motivation and improving self-confidence, because if you have having self-confidence and having motivation, it will have influence. It will strongly influence the student to willing to start an assignment, which then will have them turn it in and have them actually feel confident in approaching assignments in the future, which then leads to this my final picture, which then just shows like the four the four ways to overcome procrastinations that I talked about were time management, reducing distractions, taking breaks, and self-confidence and motivation. Which leads to the question that I proposed, which is why should we care? Which actually, newsflash, you should, student because researchers have actually found that it it can actually carry on to adulthood, which can affect relationships, careers, and overall satisfaction with life. So researchers basically say you should take procrastination seriously now by like building like really like strong habits like having time management, having confidence, and implementing breaks in between, and that will basically just benefit you in the long run. And then here I basically just now summarize the end, like what people can do, or basically, yeah, what are the effects, what are the causes, and how to overcome them. It's a brief summary of it. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It was a great having you guys as a class. It was really fun. It was a really fun class, really engaging. And thank you to Professor Morales. It was really fun. You made the class really fun and enjoyable. So thank you. And yeah, I hope everyone does well in the future. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.